Well, I'm so sorry. I don't know what to say. I just proved that I'm not a technology savvy person, and I feel myself very old. Well,
you don't have to say sorry, sir. You know, people, the entire country, and maybe, you know, many people from the other countries are just waiting to hear from you, the maritime industry. We are so obliged that you are here with us, sir. As you all already know, Captain Mervyn, the CEO of the Sun Tech Ship Management, Captain Vijay, a master on board right now in USA. So, viewers, that's our privilege to have Mr. Sıtkı, Head of Asia and Pacific Section, Technical Cooperation Division of the IMO with us. And we have already lost some time. So I'll invite one of the guests, Captain Mervyn, to go ahead with the first question. And viewers, as you know, today we will only be talking about the COVID and the maritime industry.
Yeah, hi, Mr. Sıtkı, sir. Thank you so much for joining today. Everybody is all ears wanting to hear what you have to say about COVID and the endeavors that IMO are making. So if we can start with the first thing is we want seafarers to be assigned the title of key workers. I know that in IMO we have almost 117 members, or almost 70% of the member states who have not yet assigned key worker status to seafarers. Maybe you can shed some light on that subject and why or what is the impediment to this happening. Over to you, sir.
thank you, Captain Mervyn. Thank you, gentlemen, and good day to everyone who are following us live at the moment. Please accept my profound apologies. Technology is very helpful, very useful, but we should not rely on technology 100%. I think as mariners and seafarers, we know that, and my impediment with this, I'm using this account, IMO account, for the first time, and I don't have my Instagram account. I have never used Instagram before until today. Please accept my apology. First of all, I would like to start with expressing IMO's profound appreciations, gratitudes on behalf of all international maritime community for the exceptional, heroic work done by the seafarers. Those who are at sea now have all taken the burden to keep the economy going, keep the shipments of goods sustainably continued, so that all ashore and everybody around the globe continue with their livelihood. The maritime the words would not be sufficient to express the importance of maritime transport. And because of the unexpected COVID pandemic, all of a sudden, the maritime transportation never stopped. Ships continued moving, but what happened? Ships continued moving because seafarers have all shouldered the burden. That's how shipping maintained continuing its services and continued carrying all the critical products, goods, all necessary equipments, or any kind of essential elements to continue for energy, for raw material. As you know, most in general terms, more than 80% of all goods are transported by sea. And I also would like to remind ourselves that the recent incident in Suez Canal indicated how important shipping is. just 1 week unexpected delay in transportation caused not only high cost, but indicated how critical shipping is and how human beings rely on ship transportation. So in this respect, all seafarers who are listening us at the moment or may listen us a bit later through your channel accept our gratitude, profound appreciations for their heroic work. In response to that, what the international maritime community has done, I can assure you that international maritime community has been doing its best. IMO, together with other UN agencies, International Labour Organization, World Health Organization, other international intergovernmental organization, International Civil Aviation Organization, all these organizations have worked together, and the UN Secretary General also invited all countries, all states, not only IMO member states, but all states were invited by the UN Secretary General to recognize seafarers as key workers, so that the crew change, repatriation, and other related operations could continue smoothly. All for what? All for the sustainability of maritime transport, which is so important for all human beings. So in that respect, indeed, seafarers are unsung heroes, and our gratitude cannot be stressed enough with words. This said, what IMO did was the Secretary General, who is himself a seafarer, for those who may not know that,
Mr.
Taklim is an ex-seafarer. So he formed up a team, what we call Seafarers Crisis Action Team, within the IMO Secretariat. I'm participating in the work of that team from time to time, and this team is working 24/7 and trying to deal with even individual cases. As you may know, IMO being an UN agency regulating international shipping, main focus, and if I may say so, the clients are governments, foreign ministries or ministries of transport or maritime administrations. IMO ordinarily doesn't deal with individual seafarers or operational matters, but because of the unprecedented situation under COVID pandemic, Secretary General took this initiative, and my colleagues, from time to time, I support their efforts. They have been working tirelessly together with other agencies, as I mentioned. There are regular meetings, and IMO has been able to promote seafarers to be recognized as key workers. But unfortunately, out of 174 member states of IMO, so far only 55 of them recognize seafarers as key workers. The number has been increasing regularly, but so far 55 of them recognize seafarers as key workers. And 74 countries at the moment, as of March this year, allow crew exchange to a certain extent. It, of course, in different countries there are different operations, as those who are in operations would know, and active seafarers might have experienced. Some countries are doing better than others, but at least 74 countries allow crew exchange and repatriation to certain degree. So far, according to the figures we received from this is an estimation from the International Chamber of Shipping, still 200,000 seafarers are stranded somewhere, and another 200,000 seafarers are are waiting to sign on and embark their ships. So the figures are quite high, and at the moment there is around 1,050,000 seafarers approximately waiting for vaccination, need to be vaccinated, and crisis is still going full speed ahead. Some countries are doing better than others. The crisis is nowhere close to the end, of course, and therefore all parties trying their best. And of course, International Maritime Organization, together with other agencies, adopted some protocols, guidelines to promote these critical issues, to facilitate seafarers being recognized by all the states, and facilitate smooth crew exchange and repatriation of seafarers. Unfortunately, some seafarers suffered from severe delays when they signed off and their way back home during the repatriation process. Some of them stranded more than 6, 7, 8 months. Some of them even nearly 1 year. They were not able to go back home after they disembarked from their ship. So it is really a very serious matter. Unfortunately, there are progress. I'm pleased to note and share with you there are progress, but not sufficient. And now the current work is focused on the another element, which is recognition of seafarers as priority group for vaccination, and wherever they are, the aim of the international organizations led by IMO is to facilitate the seafarers get their jabs as soon as possible. Unfortunately, there are still cases, and you might have heard or may not heard yet. There was a very recent case in the Pacific. One of the cargo ships, all crew members tested positively with COVID-19, and because of the limitations of the shore facilities, they were not being able to disembark. So this kind of individual case is going on, and IMO is doing its best to help. But of course, you would appreciate that IMO is not a law enforcement agency. IMO is a regulatory body. So IMO can only invite member states to take certain actions. So all the actions and decisions rest with the member states. And one important element I would like to share with you, with my fellow mariners, the maritime administrations, they all appreciate the critical importance of seafarers, and they are trying their best. However, the final decision on this kind of issues usually is out of the hands of the maritime administrations or maritime transport or transport ministries. Usually, health ministries and other government agencies, border agencies, there are various other agencies involved in this kind of decision-making process. And in some countries, maritime administrations cannot really push through their own agenda. And that is one of the primary concerns and primary impediments preventing the recognition of seafarers as key workers, or any other initiatives to facilitate expeditious vaccination campaign for the seafarers. So these are factual situations, but we will continue working until we ensure that all seafarers are protected, and of course the maritime transportation continue seamlessly. This is extremely important. I hope I have been able to address the question. Thank you.
Yes, sir. And coming back to your point where you mentioned, the repatriation of the crew. Recently, just lately, maybe a day ago, I heard the news that Singapore has banned the entry of, all the seafarers or anyone entering the country from the India. And considering more than 100,000 strong contingent of Indian maritime industry, it's going to be a huge setback for the people because, considering that Singapore is one of the, largest, or the most convenient port where people could, in the South East Asia region, where you could, repatriate people without any hitch. And now that's another issue which the Indians will be, facing, sir.
I'm sorry to hear that update. However, Singapore is one of those maritime nations been more proactive than some others in facilitating crew exchange and repatriation. So let's hope that this blanket ban for Indian nationals would not be applicable to the Indian seafarers. Let's hope that would be the positive side of it. Of course, I don't know the details, but Singapore has been one of those proactive maritime nations. Did really well, more than any other countries, and I hope that they would appreciate the importance of the crew exchange and repatriation of seafarers, so that this decision would not be applicable to the seafarers.
Right, Captain Marvin.
Yeah. So, Mr. Sidhi, it was very nice for you. It was a very good example that you gave about this vessel that went aground in the Suez Canal, and now it threw global supply chains into turmoil just in a matter of a week. Keeping that in mind and that in the background, shouldn't the world UN and IMO together find a way of easing the burden on the seafarers and getting safe corridors? I know we are doing a lot of things. You are doing a lot of stuff towards this repatriation, but crew repatriation is one of the most super critical challenges the industry is facing today. It has its repercussions on safety. It has its repercussions on every aspect of shipping. So is there a way that we could help, or we could work with somebody and do something to get safe corridors set up in all countries? It does not need to be in every country, but get crew change hubs. There was some move to have one in the United States and Singapore, but we didn't go beyond that, so we need to progress on it, because as you very rightly said, this pandemic is not coming to an end very soon. We are in for it in a long haul. So in the interim period, if it was getting over in 3 months and we knew 3 months, then we'd just stay quiet. But we do not know if it'll be 3 months, 30 months. So we need to get a plan in place. We need to have a kind of, safe havens where crew seafarers can off-sign without having to go through a multitude of RT-PCR tests and antigen tests and name it. So that's one aspect of it. And the other aspect of it, as you also mentioned, about vaccination. What ideally we would like to see is now Capt.Vijay is in United States. His crew have not got vaccinated. He should be able to call the agent, ask the agent to, send a doctor on board to administer the vaccination to all his crew and issue a certificate. That's like Captain Ravi was talking about earlier. That's similar to what we used to have when we had the cholera and we had the yellow fever in yesteryears. So if that can be reinvented and brought out in the COVID vaccine system, it would be very good. Your views on that, sir?
Thank you, Captain Marvin. Well, obviously, this is the number one issue at the moment. Of course, urging those member states who have not yet recognized seafarers as key workers, and this is primarily because of their low making challenges, a lot of consultations. I mean, as you know, the speed of the convoy is as good as the speed of the lowest ship. So, unfortunately, these kind of initiatives require a lot of coordination, and also there is an important element is that you might have heard there is a program what is called COVAX program. This is an initiative of World Health Organization, again IMO and other UN agencies like ILO, ICAO, and others join forces to try to take a 4-step plan to push this campaign and try to facilitate vaccinations for the seafarers in recognition of the importance of the shipping industry and their work. But one of the problems is the supply of vaccinations, and therefore this is a stumbling block. And even in Europe, not all countries have done so far as good as, for example, what United Kingdom has done so far in terms of vaccination. So supply of vaccination is a really big stumbling block, and these UN agencies work in hand with governments. But yes, there are some actual real problems like lack of or insufficient supply in this regard. So I can assure you that IMO and ILO in particular, and together with other UN agencies, WHO is very, of course, in a critical position in terms of vaccination. They are doing their best, but how far it's going to go, reach out to all the seafarers, it is completely unknown at this stage. So all I can say is that they are really doing their best. As I mentioned at the outset, I mean, none of these agencies made any comment as such that, you know, we deal with governments, we don't deal with individual cases. No, nobody really focuses on what these agencies should be doing or should not be doing, but they all consider this as a big humanitarian crisis, and they join forces and with the support from the industry. And we must also recognize International Chamber of Shipping, ITF, International Transport Federation. They, together with other charities, other organizations, they are working together, trying to get this through and reach out all the seafarers. And obviously, the capacity is a serious problem. I can give you an example, a very concrete example in this respect. There were, until very recently, hundreds of seafarers were unable to be repatriated to their home in the Pacific Island countries. And there were a lot of meetings, consecutive meetings. Finally, they have reached their homes. Some of them, as I said, stranded for more than a year after completion of their contract. And some of them, as you know very well, some of them, according to ILO, contracts should not go beyond 12 months. But some of the seafarers had to stay for 18 months or more, and yet they also stranded after they signed off their ship, and they could not go back home, and they stranded somewhere in Europe, somewhere in Americas, or elsewhere before they reached their final destination. So this is not an of course easy problem to be handled, but the primary impediment is that ultimately it's the governments that can really put things in action, and no matter how good decisions and protocols you adopt as a regulatory body, the implementation is the key element. And some governments really struggle with their limited resources, and they struggle with implementation of these protocols. So we will see, but I think all I can say is that we will continue to the extent possible to help the seafarers in these difficult times.
Capt.Vijay?
Yes, sir. Most of the stuff Captain Mervyn sir and you mentioned, and I just want to share that I know that because of the pandemic, seafarers are now being considered, and member states are now agreeing slowly to consider us as essential key workers. And I believe this should have been done quite earlier. We didn't have to wait for this pandemic. And I have been there. Like last year, I joined a vessel. I signed off in this pandemic times. And there have been cases on board ships wherein crew were stuck for 15 months, 18 months. And company wanted to sign them off. It's not that the company didn't want it to. It is because of the the logistics, the company's restrictions. I mean the country's restrictions, the visas. So I just hope and wish that just you mentioned that Singapore has stopped, like Singapore, Fujairah, and the major hub ports wherein the crew change is possible. I believe at least those countries maybe something should happen, because of which there are a lot of seafarers in India. I mean they are jobless. They are still waiting for ships for a really long time. They're quite depressed, and they want to join. The company has already a long waiting list of many seafarers available to join. So this is not happening. So many of the seafarers requested me to speak to you that many of the seafarers are jobless because of this pandemic, and I hope that this crew change is back to normal, especially for the seafarers. Even though like Singapore, for example, they have mentioned that within 14 days, anybody from India. I hope that they consider the seafarers as an exception to this.
I can only hope so, and I wholeheartedly agree with the point you made. But I trust that Singapore is really a maritime nation, and they have the ability to act quite expeditiously, and I'm pretty sure they appreciate the importance. And I'm pleased to say that they are really doing. I know they are doing their best. There will be a meeting. Hopefully, this is yet to be confirmed, but according to provisional plan, there will be a meeting by end of May with Singapore and other ASEAN members. And as of course, East Asia is one of the key regions when it comes to seafarer supply, anything relating to shipping. East Asia is the first region that one can think of. But I hope that Singapore, in their wisdom, will make seafarers an exception from that blanket decision. But we also, gentlemen, of course, we work with the government representatives. As I shared with you a few minutes ago, some small island developing states, they have genuine concern. You can imagine India is a big country. One of the biggest countries in many ways, economy, population, size, geography, etc. But you can't imagine how concerning it is for small island states in the Pacific or in the Caribbean or somewhere else. They have small population, and they are extremely concerned about having positive COVID positive people on their island. So because of limited resources, because of their maybe lack of ability to combat with any contagious diseases like COVID, as you know, total fatality figures reached more than 3 million globally. Even country like United Kingdom, total fatalities reached to 127,000. So it's and US alike lost a lot of souls on their soil. So it is not easy. It is not easy for anyone, not only for developing countries. It is a big challenge for developed countries alike, and we have been through it, and we observe that. So, but again, as I mentioned, seafarers are doing a heroic job. They have been taking all the burdens, and unfortunately, psychology, fatigue, safety, as you rightly pointed out, all these are important elements. And this pandemic and the circumstances made a huge negative impact on all those elements. And at the end of the day, unfortunately, it is the seafarers who really took the burden and put their hands into this. So for that, we cannot stress enough our gratitude. And yes, go ahead, please, Captain Ravi.
Please go on, sir. Please go on, sir.
So the recent efforts is just trying to push through these new measures to make sure that this COVAX program is implemented as planned, and this is the main focus at the moment. And IMO bodies also will adopt new measures to promote the new vaccination campaign for the seafarers. I can assure you that all the international community, hand in hand, they're really doing their best. But unfortunately, the challenge is really big. So we have every sympathy and appreciation for the job that our fellow seafarers have been doing so far.
I think we have taken more than the 30 minutes which you had allotted to us, sir. Briefly, Captain Mervyn, any other question, or I'll just ask him the last question about the women seafarers of the nation?
No, I think Mr. Sıtkı has been very open and transparent and very candid in the way he has replied. Thank you, sir, for your responses. We do understand the limitations of the smaller nations, as you call them. But unless we start planning for the future, we will never end with a solution. So even if we take baby steps now towards vaccinating our seafarers in foreign ports and things like that, going forward, things will ease out, and then it will become much easier. But we have to start taking baby steps now to reap the fruit later on. Captain Ravi, over to you.
Yes, Mr. Sıtkı, my last question would be, as we have been watching, the Indian women mariners are increasing by a huge number every day, and they are doing a wonderful job. We have been interviewing a lot of them. But what a pity, sir, 1.2 million seafarers and only 2% women seafarers all over the world. And I'm sure, maybe I would request IMO to, come up with some guidelines for the companies, for the nations to, keep some percentage of, women seafarers, and, so that, these companies or the countries, they have to induct these women seafarers. In the end, right now, I'm sure thousands of, girls would be watching this, and maybe later on when I upload, there'll be many women seafarers will be watching. Anything you have to say to all those wonderful girls, just to encourage them that their future is good in the hands of IMO?
Thank you, Captain Ravi. I cannot agree more with your statements, and also before I come to this question, please allow me to also underscore what Captain Marvin said regarding the elements that he highlighted. I wholeheartedly agree with all the points you made. And coming to the gender issue, I again 100% agree with your comments. We all for it, and IMO has been running some specific programs to promote women mariners, not only seafarers, but any area in the maritime profession, in the logistic chain or ashore, Coast Guard, Navy, you name it, or engineering positions or harbor in ports and in or government positions, and we always invite our member states to consider their female officers when we organize events. We always encourage them to consider gender balance, and in fact, not even balance, but some positive discrimination to support female seafarers and professionals. I would like to share one of my recent observations during one of the meetings. Some scientists share their research, and I would like to share it with you. Diversity is one of the critical elements increasing efficiency in all walks of life, in all professions, in all working environments, and diversity in all respects. Diversity relating to ethnic background, relating nationality, cultures, and gender. And we believe that those who would like to be a professional mariner from our female friends, colleagues, they would be an excellent professional mariners, engineers, or masters, or chief officers or officers. So I have the pleasure to take the initiative or be part of the initiative in my earlier career when I was still working for the maritime faculty. We opened doors for female students, and it was already a due decision. It was already too late, and now our female professionals proved that they are not less capable than their male colleagues, and they might even be better. And definitely no doubt about it. And we invite them to come and work with us at sea or ashore in every positions in the maritime domain. With their support and with their contribution, the maritime profession will only progress for better in the future. No doubt about it.
Thank you very much, sir. And I think you have explained all our questions. Yes, Capt.Vijay, you have a question.
I am in totally agreement with Captain Ravi. Like women, like I've been in this industry for 15 years, and Captain Mervyn would agree with me as well. Shipping and merchant navy is all about multitasking, and I believe that women are born multitaskers. So,
yes, true. Agree.
So, and me and Captain Ravi, we have been ardent supporters of women in maritime industry, and we happen to be interviewing a lot of people, associated with the, women seafarers. We had the, along with my.
We lost him.
I know, we lost him anyway.
Oh, am I back, sir?
Okay. You're back.
Yeah, you're back.
You're back.
I did happen to interview Captain Jenin from Amsa boat, and one of my good friend, Nyari, she has written a book, Anchor My Heart. So I'll be sending you the link on the WhatsApp. Do read the book and please share your reviews as well.
Thank you, Capt.Vijay. Thank you, gentlemen.
It's an honor on behalf of all the seafarers. It's an honor and pleasure to have you on board. It was a dream come true, and many of the viewers who are still watching it, and this will be uploaded on the Maritime Universe. On behalf of Maritime Universe, I thank you as well, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Captain. And you represent the active seafarers, and it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure being with you during this interview, and thank you for inviting IMO. Thank you for giving me the opportunity. And I just would like to also invite all young seafarers to continue their career and also consider joining some professional bodies, and lessons learned is a crucial element, as you pointed out, Captain Mervyn. We really need to learn from all this experience to avoid similar situations in the future. And lessons learned is really no ISM code. and we will certainly learn from this experience, and hopefully we will be prepared better in the future. Thanks very much to everyone.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir.
I'll conclude this chat with the famous IMO slogan: safe, secure.
If I
And
may,
with that,
I
we
also,
come to the end. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
I just would like to strongly wish fair winds and following seas to our fellow seafarers, those at sea. We are proud of you. We pray for you, and not only pray, but also we are working for you. Hopefully, we will get to the point where all the seafarers will get their vaccination. And thank you for all you've done so far. Thank you for all your heroic work. Keep the maritime transportation maintained and continue uninterruptedly. So thank you very much to all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for
Thank you so much,
taking
sir.
our invitation. Thank you, Captain Mervyn. Thank you, Captain Vijay. And on behalf of Maritime Universe, once again, Mr. Sıtkı, it's been a pleasure having you with us. Thank you. Goodbye and good night.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye for now.